Welcome to the virtual tabletop of the Yuki. I am your dungeon master and playing as Francis the Trico Yuki Production. Today, I would like to give you a preview of today's episode, tonight's recorded episode of the the Sceptile Rescue, as well as a change to the rules I'm about to implement to make combat a little bit more faster than normal. First off, a little taste of what's going to happen in our next episode. The party has reached Route 101 on their way to rescue Kyle the Sceptile. Our party consists of Poochie the Poochiana, played by Lone Casey. We also have Toxie the Mudkip, played by Toxie the Unknown. And of course, Francis the Trico, played by yours truly and Dungeon Master, Yuki Productions. That's me. Hi. Hi there. So I'll be the DM for our session. And we have something new for you guys to implement. So to yesterday, I uploaded a video on my Yuki's virtual tabletop channel talking about the system called Nimble. And Nimble is currently getting ready to do a version 2 Kickstarter type thing on Backerkit. It's a site where it's like Kickstarter where you fund the project. So what is Nimble in the form of a summary? Basically, Nimble takes combat of D&D and makes it a lot faster. So normally, you would see us do what we call initiative to determine turn order. Would make sense, but it's a little bit long per se. Let's just say, for example, we're about to fight two zigzagoons here. Okay, two random zigzagoons just waiting to fight. We're about to fight them. Okay. Normally, initiative is determined by the dice roll of a d20. And here's how it works. If you played regular D&D, you add your roll plus your dexterity modifier or DEX. And whatever that modifier is, you add it to your roll and that's your number. For this example, I'm going to say my modifier is 3 plus 3. So 14 plus 3 is 17. If I get a higher, if somebody is higher, then I go second, and so on and so forth. Same thing for the creatures, for the monsters I've summoned as a DM, or in this case, Pokemon. But in the Nimble system, you skip that step. You skip the D20 step. You go straight into combat, and the way turn order is going to go is players go first based on clockwise positioning. Let's just say you're at the table, like an actual game table, not online. The person who's ready to go goes first, and then it goes clockwise. The DM goes last as the creature. So let's just say, for example, in this scenario, who is going first when it comes to the player characters? You would think who is going first in terms of the entire game? You would think the Zigzagoon is more clockwise than everybody else. However, players go first, not the creatures. So who is clockwise going first? If you said Francis the Trico, that is correct. Because if you think about it position wise on a clock, I have 12 o'clock. Poochie the Poochiana is on the right side, which is about 3 o'clock. Toxie the Mudkip is on the left side, which is 9 o'clock if you think about it on the clock. So therefore, I go first, um, Poochiana goes second, and Mudkip goes third. And for the creatures, it belongs to the clock system as well. Okay, so this Zigzagoon will go first, then this one. This will represent 12, this will represent 3. So that's your turn order. That's it, done. Don't need to complicate numbers. That's all you have to do. Next, in combat, normally in D&D, you would say, "Hey, I'm gonna play as Francis the Trico because this is my character. DM, I would like to tackle the Zigzagoon as Francis the Trico. I would like to tackle the Zigzagoon." The DM would normally say, "Hey, roll attack, please. I mean, roll check." The DM would say, "Hey, roll to your DM your D20 to see if you're attacking." In this case, I would not. I would miss because it's a 2 plus my dexterity plus my strength modifier is 5. I would still miss anyway because it's only 7. However, in Nimble, forget the D20 check. All you have to do is roll your damage. So you skip one step in Nimble. So my damage is 1d6 plus 1. So 4. Guess what? I hit no matter what. 4. I deal 4 points of damage plus 1 is 5. So 5 points of damage to this Zigzagoon. That's not my end of the turn though. Normally you would end your turn at after one attack, but in Nimble you can actually attack again. The difference with attacking twice, however, is you are attacking with stacking disadvantage. So what does that mean? Just like in regular D&D, disadvantage means you are taking the lowest number. Same thing with advantage, but you're taking the highest number. So I am rolling now with disadvantage if I decide to attack again, and I will for this example. So I'm going to attack again, this time with stacking disadvantage. So I got a 3 and a 3. So 3 and 3 is the same numbers, therefore I add 3 more points of damage, so I do another 3 points of damage to the Zigzagoon. But what if I decided to attack again, a third time? Well, I do the exact same thing, but with stacking double disadvantage, which is I'm going to roll 3d6 and then take the lowest number. And in this case, I would get a 2. There's two twos, but you only take one. So the 2 is going to be my added damage. So I deal another 2 points of damage right off the rip. And then my turn is over. But what if I decided, hey, I want to attack and then I want to, let's just say, for example, save my action points for later. You can do that. Let's just say you only want to attack once and then you move back and then wait for other player's turn. This is going to be important for another thing we're going to cover in a moment. So I'm going to go ahead and change the combat play here now. Oops. I am now going to have a situation where we have this scenario happening. Let's go this way. Let's go with this. As you guys can see, everybody is occupied with one enemy, except for one player. Francis Trico is not occupied by an enemy at this moment because Toxie has this Zigzagoon, Puchiana has this Zigzagoon, but this Zigzagoon is not going to attack this Puchiana. This Zigzagoon is going to attack me. Why? Because I said so. But for this example, I'm going to keep the 4 HP there. Here's why. In this particular instance, it is going to be the Zigzagoon's turn. But Puchiana has 2 action points when simulated to play with. It's not his turn yet, but he can do something called imposing, which I'm going to explain right now. If he decides to impose, that means this Zigzagoon is going to attack me because it's 10 feet and I am within 10 feet of the Puchiana here. Gonna say he's gonna attack me on the ledge here. Okay? He's going to impose. He's gonna try to attack me here. When imposing, I am within 10 feet. He's within 10 feet of me. Right here, 10 feet, 10 feet. Hazigo cannot do it because he's 15 feet. So he's a little bit off. So what's going to happen is he's going to step in front. Let's just see what that number is. Oh, what is it? They gave it as a 6. Great. Good time to talk about critical hits. Critical hits in Nimble. Automatically hit, and you get to roll again. The same dice. If you get another 6, you roll again. If you roll another 6, you roll again. If you do not get a 6, you add everything. And then you modify, and that's how much damage you do. So in this case, I would take 6 points of damage plus another 6, so that's 12. That's 4, so that's 16. Plus 1 is 17 points of damage. However, we do have a different play here. We have the imposed play. You see, imposing means you get to defend somebody. Now, I'm going to put this up to 20 so that it makes sense. That Zigzagoon is about to deal 6, 12, 16 points of damage to Francis the Trico, but the Puchiana is going to impose by moving here automatically if decided to and take either the 16 points of damage or block. He could choose one. If he blocks all damage if he wanted to do that, or impose by taking everything, the 16 points of damage, protecting me from that. No matter what he's imposing, that's the imposed action. But it does cost one action point. And even though even though your turn is coming up, because you used that action point already, you only go back to 2 AP because you technically use one off your turn. So you could save a player, but it comes at a cost of one action point. So it's really of, do you protect your teammate now or do you save it? If had the Puchiana saved that one action point and forced me to take the 16 points of damage, I'm automatically making a revival check next turn. I use revival checks. Pokemon don't die in this thing unless it's by the story. The revival check I would do a D20. This is the only time I do a D20. Okay, let's just make sure. Yep, I would make it. I would make the revival check. The revival check. I would come back with a D10. 2 HP. There you go. But let's just say I did not make the revival check. I would lose that turn. I would go again. My turn again. This time I do make it. So there you go. That's the system with Nimble and a little bit of homebrewing. So what are the options with Nimble? Like what can you do as a player besides just showing you guys and little things like this? With Nimble, it's modular. So you can decide, hey, the action point system looks cool. I want to adapt that. You could, like I showed you here. Or you can make it to where instead of rolling initiative to see how many action points you play with, you all start with 3 action points. Or if you are interested in more actions, you can add another action point as a reward, or you can add another action point just just for the sake of action point. But don't do that just in case, because some actions actually are free based on the Nimble rulebook. Now, why is this more interesting than just rolling a d20 every attack check? Because if you miss, then your turn is over. You don't get to do um, bonus attack, bonus action, and stuff like that, or spells. The only thing with spells in Nimble is if you do a cantrip, it's one attack, one action point, and if you do a leveled spell, it's two. So you gotta really think about your action point. Also, like I mentioned earlier with imposing, the Puchiana has a chance to impose to protect the player here, which is me. If he decides to do that, he uses one action point that was protected from that was not used from his turn earlier. So you have a choice. Do you save that action point and probably use it for later another attack? Do you save it, but also run the risk of your teammate getting hit, or do you use it to protect your teammate, but you lose that action point on your turn, on your upcoming turn? This is where you gotta really think about tactics, because I could say, hey, DM, I would like to. I have three action points. This, for example, I would like to impose on. I'm gonna move over here for the sake of imposing. I'm going to impose on the Zigzagoon to protect Mudkip. So I do that. Roll damage. 1 plus 1. Oh, actually, no, that's a miss because that's a 1. So, yes, yes, the Mudkip did not take damage because I'm imposing. But then I could do like, hey, I have two action points left. I'm out of turn though. It's not my turn, but I can still do that. I can hit the Zigzagoon as a payback. That's a 2 plus my modifier 1. That's 3. And then I can say I'm done because remember, I'm out of turn. It's not my turn. I could still. That's one more action point I can use. But right now, it's gonna be from Mudkip's turn. It's gonna be Puchiana's turn. Then it's my turn. I'm still out of turn, so I'm only gonna have one action point to play with if I decide to if I wait for my turn. That's the thing. You have to really think about. So you have options. You have choices now. And the with the 5e nimble. And then if I decide not to use my action point and play it like that, I get all three back. So you gotta really be careful about your action economy in the system if you just do it. You can also do it is also you can also drop this in into your normal 5e campaign from Dungeons and Dragons. All you need to do is use the action point system rather than the normal D&D rule, and you can straight up hit attack and stuff. So if you're thinking that this is going to impact your D&D campaign, it's not because it's an extension. It's a rule change to make combat more faster. They also will do it something for resting period, long rest, short rest. However, I do not have that today because I did not buy the document. I have the free version of the rule. Now, what else can you expect on the channel? Now that I showed you guys this, we're going to test out the Nimble system with our cast, with the cast. Okay, we're either going to do a one shot to test it out with everybody, or we're going to continue Sceptile the Sceptile Rescue. Okay, because I want to make sure my cast is ready. Now, the way you want to do it is you want to it's modular. So you take the whatever you want and you use it. I'm gonna take the action point system play to make it more fun, to make it more interesting. I could say, hey, normally you would start with 3 action points, but I can go with four, for example, if you want a bonus one. Okay, but you still have to take into account that if you attack multiple times, you have to use stacking disadvantage. So it's either you have to really think about it. All right? And there's another announcement. I am currently thinking of doing a Pokemon Mystery Dungeon campaign using two systems, the PMD system and using the Nimble. We might even do a regular D&D campaign, like a traditional, like from Path from Pandelver, for example. We might try that with our players, but this is a real D&D campaign because it is written for the starter set, the one you buy at Target or something like that. Path of the Pandelver. I think I still have that book, by the way. I have to check my source material. But I remember buying the starter set. That's actually how I started D&D. That is the preview for tonight, and I'm very excited to bring this system of the of the Nimble to our cast. Okay. Also, there might be an introduction thing I'm going to be working on for the cast. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Okay. I cannot wait. Enjoy and may the dice be in your favor. May you get critical hits and get a lot of cookie bits. Enjoy.